Hi guys, it's Sarah with Grassroots Evolution Tarot, and I just want to bring you guys a message from Spirit. I've been strongly called to bring a message, and to be honest guys, I miss you, and it's been a while since I have done a video, but I felt like my energy just wasn't there, so I want to bring the best to you as well. Before we get started, I just want to say thank you for all my subscribers. I love you, love you, love you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for being here, and if you're new to my channel, welcome. Thanks for stopping by. If you feel like this resonates and you'd like to see more, please hit subscribe. Join the journey with me. I'd love to have you along this ride. So before I get started, I just want to take a moment to call in Archangel Michael, Archangel Metatron, my team of light, and any of your spirit guides, as well as mine, that would be here for the highest good of the entire collective to join us. I'm going to ask that they use me as the clearest channel possible to guide, guard, bless, and protect myself, this reading, and any of you who would ask for it, as well as to use me as the clearest channel possible for the most far-reaching, but messages that are going to touch all of our souls, right? Messages that are here for the highest good as well. No second-rate messages, my friends. And what I want to say about highest good messages, sometimes they're not easy to take, sometimes they're not easy to swallow, because they're not going to tell us what we want to hear. And I think that it is really, really important. What I heard is for you to practice your discernment. So if this doesn't feel like it's you, disregard it. Go about your day, because it's not necessarily for you. I imagine that there's a lot of this within this message that is for me. So if it resonates with you, I am happy to share it. So before I get into this as well, I do just want to say that if you resonate, hey, if you want to help me out, throw a like, hit subscribe. I'd love to have you along this journey. If not, that's totally fine. It's just, one of these things that helps me out as well. So I have here this Work Your Light Oracle, which is what I felt super strongly called to bring. I also wanted to bring the Romance Angels first thing. And I had no idea when I was just sitting out here enjoying, my coffee and thinking about it, being like, I really should do a reading. And I go into where I keep my cards, and the Romance Angels were like, hey. So after this Work Your Light, we'll probably get a Romance Angel before we move in some tarot. Thank you. You have awakening, energetic upgrades, a new way of being, integration. It's a pretty cool card that's come out here, and underneath you have Akasha with your guidance is divinely guided. I feel like there's an importance too here about climbing this stairstep, climbing this stairway. They're playing Stairway to Heaven for me, but they're also showing me that this is all within the clouds. Like, there's something they said about a reflection. Everything's a reflection that you see. And even, getting into like a super matrix type way of thinking. What I see and what you see, even though we're looking at the same thing, we may see it differently, because this is a visual representation of what this earth is, right? But our eyes are not all the same. So what I heard is optical illusion. Much like here, this may look like a waterfall, but it's also, there's water. To me, it seems like light. When the sun comes through, these little spots of light, or if you have had a dusty house in the middle of winter and you watch the light come through the window, you can watch how it moves, right? And the dust will kind of go through it, but it dances. I think there's an importance here with also for some of you, the way the sunlight dances off your window, the way the sunlight is going to dance off your skin. They're telling me off your cheek here, that you're going to have to climb through some storms. But this is part of our awakening process, and I think a lot of you guys, especially if you're following my channel, we know that when we go through it, we're going to grow through it. And we get an opportunity to seize the day every day. For some of you guys, what I heard is it's like integration. This is integrating our healing. So you know how sometimes we may respond to a situation totally different than we would have before, right? And we're like, oh shit, I'm proud of myself, because in the past, I would have been crazy. So I'm going to give you an example. I was at the beach last weekend or 2 weekends ago with my family and some friends, and there were these young adults, I'll say, and they were like 30s, on a Sea-Doo, and they weren't driving it. This girl had driven the Sea-Doo into the beach, and then this guy got on with like a can of, I thought it was beer, it was a spritzer, but either way, my kids were in the water, my friends' kids were in the water, and I was like, usually quick to react, and honestly normally would have been the bear, right? The mama bear. And rawr, and I was going like towards them, and my friend's like, Sarah, don't. And I was like, you know what? There was just this compulsion because my anxiety was hella high, right? I'm seeing these people, this person I'm gonna see do that my kids keep gravitating to, and I'm like, guys, get away, because you see so many people on the water, you don't know what they're gonna do, especially when they have open alcohol, right? So I went up to them and, out of character, explained that I was having massive anxiety about this because you're drinking on a watercraft and it is illegal, that when you're drinking in the sun, you're dehydrated, your blood alcohol levels are higher, and that, you know, whether you're just sitting on it or driving or not, it's still, you're on water, right? And there's kids everywhere. And I was so happy that I maintained my composure, because these people were like, oh, would it make you feel better if we got off, you know, docked it, I'm only on it because my foot's bad. And they weren't silly. And then after I had, you know, I went back and was like, thank you for being adults about this, and, you know, explaining, they see it, right? You're being mama bear, you've got kids to worry about. And it was just a wonderful interaction that kind of renewed my faith in humanity, because so much of the times where I may have been triggered, right, and this bear comes out, is because of, I'm going to say it, douchebags. And I went back after and thanked them for not being douchebags and being pretty awesome individuals, because it was a wonderful interaction to be able to handle that kind of situation peacefully, right, and like adults. So after, and here's where, you know, the friend that was like, Sarah, don't. It's like, but it didn't go the way we thought it would. And now we get to enjoy the rest of the time in the beach, because I don't think they're going to kill my kids. I don't think they're going to get behind the friggin' start it up and go stupid. Because, like, we've seen people do these things before. If you guys have ever went to beach and motorcraft, right? People who, it's fun, sure, but they're not always the smartest, especially you throw alcohol, right? So that's just, for some of you, that's an example I was really strongly guided to bring here with when they're talking about integration. And I looked at the bottom, oh my god, so here's the card we had. Under the Akasha was mirror. Who or what is triggering you? So much like I just said, what was triggering me was this mama bear instinct, right? And along my healing journey, peace and calm are something I'm really striving for and working for, and conflict resolution hasn't always been my strongest suit. And it's something that, you know, those moments where you make yourself proud, Spirit's also now reminding me, think about the times that don't make you proud. And what we need to do here is, instead of beating ourselves up about it, sucks, yeah, what did I learn from it? What happened? Was I triggered? What was it that triggered me? And then we start to reevaluate, well, why was I reacting like that? And what I've heard is, make apologies where necessary, and we need to really work on ourselves, right? Really focusing in on the behaviors and actions that we can control and take care of, as well as they said, mental health triggers. So for some of you, I know this is for sure me, my sleep is so affected by if I get enough exercise or not. My mental health is super affected by if I get enough sleep. They go hand in hand. It's the same with how I eat, right? If I'm dehydrated, there's a lot of things where I find myself really needing to be routine oriented, because these things help me. So there's times where what I heard is breaking into a cycle. Okay, and as I'm looking at it, my elliptical's on the side, and it's by Body Break. You know, Hal Johnson, Joanne McLeod, keep fit and have fun. But I'm looking at this thinking, but it's breaking into this cycle we're no longer breaking out of. So I think it's really important, because as we're making ourselves proud, we're integrating, we're seeing the places where we know we need to feed our soul. We kind of maybe have an idea of what that is, right? Things that make you feel hella you and hella wonderful, do that. For me, it's wild water. Every time I get to wild water, it's like my soul is more replenished. And I think that this is, again, with this mirror, because this is getting into the depths of emotion as well, and knowing that whatever you're guided to do on your highest path for your highest good, take those steps up the murk. Remember that throughout these steps, This could be water, but it is an illusion. It looks like fog, but be mindful of things being slippery, especially if you're walking down, because again, it looks like some of these are different. Like, if you know, some stairs, especially if they're older, they are made with whatever material they had, and you may have not up to code spacing or something like that. I know our stairs are like that in our basement, and it is like, you have to get used to them because they're dangerous, right? In certain spots. So it's also like uneven. Just, we have an old house. Anyway, I digress. But for some of you that may resonate as well, is that I heard cracking foundation here, because if we see the pillar, right? Over time, wear and tear, there's a lot of maintenance that should happen. So in terms of our basement stairs, we've actually reinforced them too, like gone under and screwed them, make sure that they're all safe and secure, because when we moved in as well, I fell through the third or fourth from the bottom. And I mean, I'm so lucky that I didn't break my leg, but it hurt so bad. I had like a bruise like this. And it's one of those things that I wasn't running. I mean, I'm a bigger girl, but it wasn't because of my weight. It was just things that we couldn't see. Hidden structural issues, right? Because, so for some of you, it may be really important to go underneath your stairs and just check them out. See what's going on, especially if it's near the top, because a fall like that could really, really hurt somebody, right? So that's just for like one person or me, because I have been also going through my stairs, like looking up through each one, making sure that they're okay, kind of, you know. I do the random downstairs in the basement, look at the floor joists just to make sure we don't have anything that's like, you know, needing replaced super bad, or anything that's going to seriously be a structural issue. So for some of you, that is something that when they talk about what is triggering you, I'm using the analogy of my house, right? But that's our home. This meat suit is our home on this 3D earth plane. So this is where also that you need to remember, like, is there something here that, is there structural integrity that needs to be, I heard rethought or rethunk. Is there something happening here where I think your upgrades and what's happening, you're rebuilding, right? Because here is where, as we integrate, no longer are we just in denial of what needs to be done within the cracks or the crumbling parts of the foundation. This is going, you know, I think some of us, it's being preventative, right? Seeing where it is and what can we do. What I heard is damage control. What can we do to remedy the situation? I heard fix, but fix is not the word, because you cannot fix this. This is remedied, because I feel like, depending on, in terms of this pillar, we can patch it. You could get some mortar, right? And you can get some tools and you can flatten it out and you can make it look good. But its structural integrity, even with that mortar, it looks good. But what would be best for this pillar would be to take it down, be reformed, and put back up. In which case, it is not the same. It's stronger, but it's not the same. I think there's a lot of integrating knowledge that's going to come for you right now as well. And really important to trust yourself. For some of you, they're showing me the Sphinx, and potentially you're talking past lives. Because the same thing through here, like one of the pyramids. It's like, I do hear you are walking your divine path. You are being upgraded, and you are being given an opportunity within each trigger to grow. And Spirit believes in you. They know you can do it, because on this ascension journey, we signed up for this. We knew this would be part of our awakening. And it's so important right now. I heard it's so hella important right now, because you don't know who needs your light. And I think that's why, when I have been kind of putting off coming on, because I didn't feel like I was ready for it. And I'm going to come with romance angels in a minute, but it was just like, I watched this one girl I've been watching is Bella Bashan. For some of you, she's like kind of a new age, but she's converted more to Christianity. But the way her word comes through, I really, really enjoy her ministry. So for some of you, you may want to check her out. For others of you, that may not be your bag, but we're all different, right? So I think that it's important because as I was watching her, she lifted me up. And I was like, okay, she had a hard day. And what she was talking about was like that ministry really lifted me up. And I thought, you know what? Okay, so this is my conversation in my head going, okay, so you didn't think you wanted to do it right now, but what if there's someone else out there who that's going to lift them up and that's going to put them in the place they need to be in? And what if it's just for me, right? What if that's what I need to do to remember, hey, because it's been a while since I picked up the cards and recorded, right? To be like, hey, this is still what you need to do, my friends. This is still mission. So what I heard is it's okay to pause because we all need that sometimes. But make sure you hit play again, okay? And it's also important to play. So coming into play, I have the romance angels because clearly this could be relationship issues. This could be like even triggering within what I heard is family, marriage, partnerships, friendships, relationships, any kind of situationship, something, even just dating life, talking to someone, we get triggered. Why? Sometimes it's perfectly because this person said something really stupid, and other times it's because we have a really unhealed part of ourselves. So if they want me to take this one, and they're going to bring two with it. The one I had was codependency, and we have heart-to-heart conversations. And one hit the floor, which is stay optimistic about your love life. I think as well it's important to know you have wedding at the bottom here as well. I think it's important to know, especially along our ascension journey, that those that are meant to go with us, they need to grow with us too. Because if you have, trying to put this nicely, but how I feel like is if you have two people within a relationship and one person is really focusing on their journey, really knowing that everything is happening and they're trying to ascend, and you have another person who is really, really happy being in the lower vibrations, this is going to affect your mood. This is going to affect your, even I heard internal ways of thinking, and this isn't for everyone. But I got the codependency and mirroring. So for some of you, what I heard is it says addictions are affecting your romantic life. There could be addictions that we need to address. For some of you, though, this could be an addiction of not staying on the sunny side of life, of seeing the negatives, right? So a very pessimistic person. And this is where it says positive thinking and faith will bring you romance. If we're always, and this is important to what they're saying to me, little heart to heart with spirit, heart to heart with ourselves in terms of this mirror as well, is some of us may think because things have been hard, and this has been definitely a past of my own, is that you don't want to hope, or not hope, but you're not going to be hoping for the best outcome, because then if it doesn't happen, then you're not disappointed. But when you get so excited about something and then it doesn't happen. But what I heard is about that, I was like, that's a self-fulfilling prophecy of doom and destruction, because you're just not seeing you're going to get what you want. You're working on, you're seeing it's not going to happen, and you're going to be not getting what you want, but okay, because you expected that. This is kind of like, you need to honestly discuss feelings with each other, I heard, and potentially, especially with the situation, drop preconceived notions, especially when they're coming back to me of Akasha being divided, or divinely guided. It's a smoke screen. Things aren't what they seem. Stay optimistic. This could be, again, codependency, not just as an addiction's affecting your life, but a place in the way I see codependency is where we give our power to another, right? We have given another person or substance power over us. And I don't want to, here's another deal on this. If you do know that you have been kind of in a codependent situation, don't beat yourself up. I think it's important to know that at different times in all of our life, especially on a healing journey, we got some inner child wounding, yeah? Maybe we got some adult wounding. We have something that are triggering and hindering us. Some of this is even within relationships, right? Because For some of us, what I heard is there is this feeling that love isn't real because whoever, hasn't really experienced it. So it's this pessimistic feeling anyway, just because it's not something we've experienced in our world, or because of our relationships and the way that they've panned out, or potentially because of our own healing that needed to happen. We were led into karmic situations that were very codependent. And this is a breaking that cycle. There's the drama, constant drama, and feeling on the offensive or defensive. If you know someone's always on the offensive with you, or if you constantly feel like you're on the defensive, this kind of dynamic, there's no peace in it. And for some of us, I feel like, especially if you watched that growing up, you may think, hey, you know what? That's what love's supposed to look like. This is what relationships are. Or, better the devil you know than the devil you don't. So I've dealt with this forever. I'm just going to keep doing it. Think about what I heard is the toll that takes on your heart, the toll that takes on your health. If you're constantly in this fight or flight, and you don't know which version of the person you're going to get, right? So if you're always in this, whatever it is, state of limbo as well. So it's going to be really, really important for you. What I heard is, while you're expressing your feelings, so there's this Facebook post I saw a while ago that said something like, expressing your feelings isn't supposed to end in a fight. If you are afraid to express how you feel because it might end in a fight, something needs to give, right? Because we can't go on pretending this doesn't happen. This is not a relationship. This is not a mutually respectful relationship. So this is where I'm coming back to the partners we choose. They need to come with us on this ascension journey, grow with us, because I feel like so many of us are past that point of just, having someone in our life just to fill a void or a space, because now it's like, well, there needs to be sustenance if you're going to be in my life. If you're filling it with trauma, well, that's not something I want right now. That's not something that I need. My peace is more important. And I think that for a lot of you, I know myself, this has really been my stance, is that my peace is no price tag to that peace, man. So I think it's really important too, right, that having these heart-to-heart discussions, opening up as well, especially what I heard is knowing what questions to ask. So a little advice I got earlier was kind of to make sure just to ask, right? To ask the question instead of reacting, right? So if somebody's coming at you, to be like, do you have a problem? Like, what is your problem with me? Because you seem to really, really not like me, or why, things like this. When you have people who are just out for blood and looking for a kill, it's kind of like, instead of reacting, because I'm sure for some of you may have that, right? What I heard is for some of you, like a jealous ex, or, just an angry person in our life who likes to control, right? There's a lot of things, but it's like, your peace is going to be the most important thing throughout this process, right? And I think that many of you as well may have learned this and already, right? You've cut people out, and they're bringing me to an example too. You may have cut certain people out of your life, and you find that this same fucking energy that you worked so hard to get rid of shows up in someone else. And it shows up karmically, right? It shows up a karmic situation that you're like, wow, fuck this. Some of it may be family, some of it could be, friends, or, work people that you're like, jeepers, right? I got rid of this. Worked so hard, and then now this situation, it's not this person. And this is where we need to detach from the outcome. It's not this person. It is more, what I heard is what they kind of hold or control, they think they have on you, and when you don't give them that, watch the psycho, okay? Because it's kind of like, this is coming really strongly through, so this could be codependency not on your part either. It could be that, again, a lot of times when we have abusers, they're codependent. Narcissists, they're codependent for sure. They need your fucking supply, right? So without you, they are nothing. Without your reaction, they are nothing. Without your response, Don't fuel it. How do you extinguish? Put a lid on it. Douse some water. Know that it's okay to express your emotions, but I do feel like if you are dealing with like a super heavy narcissistic presence, don't tell that fucking person shit. Stonewall. Especially if you are an empath, because they may even read your face to see like what's going on. Say things, try and bait you, right? See what you're going to say, how you're going to react. And this again goes back to, instead of giving them those responses, know what questions to ask, right? Turn it around. You get something, ask a question. Stonewall. You do not need to react to every situation, right? We don't need to show up to every fight that we're offered. And sometimes people they say shit. They just say shit because they can. So before I leave here today, I want to bring some tarot in and let's see what we have to say here. Spirit, what messages from Tarot Wisdom? Thank you. So you have here the Two of Pentacles. The Lovers fell down with a couple cards I'll show you, because I also want to show you Justice. I'm going to keep Justice, and I'm going to keep the Queen of Cups. And I think this is honoring your heart and honoring your light. Dancing in the depths, and as well as these turtles. Very, very mothering. I think that things are being... There's a lot of twos here, just so you know, because the Lovers as well. This is duality. The Star, I'm going to not read reversals, okay? Because the Star's in the reverse. You have the Eight of Pentacles, which is this beautiful spider web of time. And the Three of Wands, waiting. What I heard for some of you... especially if you're finding yourself in sort of like a, if it's time to break into a new cycle and you're going to remove yourselves from kind of karmic, codependent, abusive, stealing your light relationships, friendship, family, romantic, however it takes, okay? Once you do this, the universe is going to reward you. For some of you, this, what I heard, is kingdom spouse. For some of you, this is, for some of you, you're a Gemini, and this is Aquarius, some of you. But I think that it's going to become very apparent once your healing happens and you meet the person you know, who is meant to be in your world, who carries this crown. And what I heard as well is an anointing. When this person comes into your world, this is your wish granted, and this is your bounty for all the karma. This is your bounty for all of, first off, what I heard is the good you do in the world. And this is, your healing is so magnificent and profound. The divine wants to make sure you know that once justice comes to this situation and you follow your own heart, you follow your own lead, and you listen to spirit, staying optimistic about things means that even if you're seeing something negative caught in this spider web, it's caught here for analyzing, but it doesn't mean you can't get out of it. And this is also about taking in perspective of whether you're caught in the spider web or whether you're a spider. One's got to eat, the other... But there's more than one side to situations, and I think that this is where this is also an open discussion, where discussions have to happen about the way things have happened. And many of you, for some of you, this is something that's happened a long time. And this is cycles, again, cycles. And like I said, we are breaking into a new cycle. We're not breaking out of, we're breaking into. And that's going to mean, with our balance, that again, we're analyzing things, but it's not analyzing to keep us into the same cycle we've already been in. It's breaking into a new one. This is creating positive, healthy habits, right? So, like I was saying earlier about my need for routine. All summer I've been drinking coffee before breakfast, and then I don't probably eat until later on, like noon or like 1 o'clock, and then I'm hungry, my sugar's off, and my whole day's whack. And when the kids are in school, I'm like, okay, with you guys, I sit down and force breakfast down me. I'm like, no coffee until later, and I feel better. And this is where even myself, I've been struggling when, girl, you need to get your routine back. You just need to do it. So the same with kind of the exercise or the physical activity for me. It's so important because it really does affect my sleep, and my body just feels better when I feel better, and I feel better when I can see, I've pushed limits and I've made progress. Like, just a little me thing here, but with my elliptical there, half an hour has been the longest I've really done my whole since I was like in my 20s. Half an hour on elliptical is my spot. Well, the other day I was half an hour and it beeped and I hit go again, covered it up, and I ran 10 miles. And I was like, oh my God, I ran 10 miles. I did 37, almost 38 minutes, which, okay, that's only 8 minutes. But that means that when I stop at 30 because I'm so done, I can do more. You can always do more. And I think it's really important to challenge yourself as well. So for some of you with this 3, that's why we're waiting. You challenged yourself. You signed up for this. And I know probably me when I was up in, whatever holding center or, our time up before we're figuring out, like, what are we going to do? And I'm looking at these Akashic records going, what am I supposed to do, Spirit? They're like, oh, you're going to put yourself through it. Because I will call myself strong-willed. I'm sure stubborn is the word in there as well, but hard-headed, however you want to call it. But I think that's the kind of thing that when you're sure of yourself, there are many people, what I heard, will be intimidated by that. But I don't want, so I didn't even want to use those terms, because hard-headed, those kinds of things, they're used in a negative way because somebody won't submit. Because somebody won't change their mind, because somebody can't be browbeat, and then they become this negative word or headstrong. And this is where it's like, yeah, because I'm very confident in my worth, and I'm very confident in my ability and in who I am, and as I wouldn't go and try and tear someone else down and try and make them question their worth, nor would I expect another to do that to me. So this portion for you guys, if it resonates, great. If not, I think that it's, take it again, but this far in, I think Spirit just wants you to know, again, don't lose hope and faith. Walk through your journey. You have the Page of Cups under here and the Lovers. Like, for some of you, somebody might be coming into your world, and this could be a past situation, this could be a new love. But it's a situation that's going to ask you to look at patterns in old relationships as well, to say, okay, you may catch yourself doing these things, or like the self-fulfilling prophecy, runner-chaser kind of dynamic, where you're like, well, why do I keep, what is this situation? And this is where we need to do 2 things. First off, kind of look at ourselves and what triggered us, what, analyze our reaction to the situation. And then when you get to that point, you're like, okay, look at the other person too, and go, all right, this is where we need to look at it not just as in what we did, or not just in what they did, but take a holistic approach to this. They're bringing a song to my mind right now, Blue on Black by Kenny Wayne Shepherd. I've mentioned it a lot because I love that song. Five Finger Death Punch did a song on it as well, but it's basically like the truth lies in between. And there's a line that's like, blue on black, it don't bring you back, right? Like, if you're not willing to see the in-between, if there's somebody here from a past, and there's no willingness for conflict resolution that it can result in a peaceful way, then I feel like it's like, but then that can't happen, right? So they shot me Never Alone. This is from, and what was that? Discover Who I Am. I actually flipped it, so also my own creative power. But I recognize the power of my thoughts. Do I use these thoughts to build or destroy? I choose to create my universe filled with and surrounded by joy and harmony. I will remain a positive attitude and let no one or nothing discourage me. I create love and peace. I think that was an important one. I discover who I am. I no longer put myself down or see myself as having limitations. I discover my inner wealth and become aware of my true self. I am in touch with all my needs and am not concerned about the judgment of others. I marvel at the beauty and all the possibilities available to me as a being of light. I learn to recognize what is divine in me. And you are never alone. Regardless of the darkness around me, I maintain my bond with God, Spirit, Source, angels, and the angels. And this is the inner strength that allows me to go on. I have faith that all things will fall into divine order for my greatest benefit. I will ask the universe for its guidance, and I will always receive its help and protection. The sun and will rise and shine for me. Time to wake up, right? Rise and shine. Rise and shine. Spirit has you, and again, breaking into a new cycle. I think it's going to take some willingness and commitment, but I think you have it. So go for it, my friends. It's the message I have. I love you all. I hope it resonated, and I will talk to you later. Bye, guys.